and welcome to Young Turks, the show that puts the spotlight on two young achievers every single week and takes you through their journey to success. I'm Shireen Bhan and joining me on the show is Anita Balagopalan. Hi Anita.
Hi Shireen. My guest for today is trying to ride both the real estate and the multiplex boom. Meet Atul Goyal of E-City Ventures, but that's a little later on the show. So now it's back to Shireen.
My guest today is a legal who's decided to capitalize on the Indian capital markets. He's interned with the US Securities and Exchange Commission. He's qualified to practice in New York. He's worked in Washington DC, but he's finally realized that home is where the heart is. Let's catch up with Sandeep Parekh today.
He's a lawyer, he's a columnist, he's guest faculty at IIMs, and he's an investment expert. But that's not all to Sandeep Parekh. He'd rather get a grip on the verticals of billion-dollar deals on weekdays and vertical rocks on weekends. Having tread the typical path of law degrees from Delhi University, followed by a master's from Georgetown and short stints at the Securities and Exchange Commission and Wilmer Cutler and Pickering in Washington, Parekh is currently climbing his career ropes at PH Parekh and Company, where he partners with his father. Living life full circle and being passionate about what he does is his formula for scaling greater heights in life.
I'm doing something which I'm passionate about. I'm doing something which I love every day. I can't think of a different life.
Well, you were in Hindu college when you finally decided that you wanted to get into law, and securities law was something that interested you. How did that happen? Because you come from a family of lawyers, so was that the driving force for you?
I guess I would say there was a little bit of family pressure to get into law. At that time I was fairly determined not to do law, and I kind of relented only when I saw that there was some other opportunity after doing law. So I was really looking at a profession way away from law after doing a law degree.
What would it have been if it wasn't law? What would you have liked to do?
At that time, I mean, you might laugh at that time it was get a business degree. But it was only when I was doing law that I was doing a little bit of trading, got interested in the securities market.
You worked in Washington as well, and you also have the opportunity, if you'd like to work in New York, you are qualified to do that as well. Never considered staying on and practicing law there?
I did, I guess, like all young people. I was attracted to the life, but I guess something in you calls. I mean, it's something which I can't define, which I can't put in half a sentence or two. Is why something calls you back, and you are back. And
but what was that experience like, really, working in Washington and dealing with lawyers abroad? Because it's a far more sort of refined and sophisticated state of functioning, especially when you're talking about securities law.
The degree of specialization was just amazing. I was working in a law firm which had a very large securities law practice, and they had actually three groups. I was part of one group which did only broker-dealer regulation, and my partner who concentrated more on, for instance, analyst conflicts and a couple of sub-parts of that. So extremely specialized. At the same time, people are very professional. People want to give you space. People want to treat you with respect. Everyone in the organization was called by first name. So there are very refreshing, very nice things about working in the US law firm.
So what was it like when you moved back to India and sort of began to set up base here, set up shop here? Was there a big difference? Was there did you suddenly think, oh my God, why have I done this? Why have I come back? Was there ever that moment?
I guess there were several moments. I mean, especially when you look at the pay packet. But I worked in Bombay for 2 years after coming back, and it was also a very challenging time. It was very interesting time professionally, and of course in India you get far more responsibility. So it was interesting in Bombay as well, and last few years I've been in Delhi, of course.
Having returned from the US with enough experience to partner a law firm, it was his love for security regulations and financial investments that got Parekh work on several multi-billion-dollar projects in the security space. Heading a team of 22 lawyers at present, Parekh is on the road to reach the apex of success by making government policy decisions the next stop. But that could well take some time.
Probably another 5 or 10 years I'd like to get into the government policy making. More of it. I'm doing a lot of it even now as an external person, but probably I don't know if I'll maybe join the regulator, join some form of governmental institution, get into more policy.
You started, as you said, 1992. It was once again an interesting period, Harshad Mehta, and then the many scams that followed. And once again, the Indian markets at record highs. Everyone wants to put in money here. You're probably dealing with clients who want to understand the Indian markets. What's the sense that you're getting?
Out of the whole thing, I mean, the entire process, particularly from 92 to now, really is kind of the beginning of the regulatory phase of the country. In many ways, we've already become over-regulated and under-enforced. So we have some issues there. But overall, I think it's been a very good time in terms of just the learning process and the feedback process. I mean, you can give a lot more to this society.
Well, speaking of interesting times, you interned at the US Securities and Exchange Commission. Forget the scale and the size and all of that, but how different are things there at the SEC in comparison to the way that SEBI functions and the Indian capital markets function? And you're part of several SEBI subcommittees, so give us a sense of the vast difference, really.
One is, of course, as you said, the scale. I mean, they get $1 billion grant each year, as opposed to SEBI, which probably functions on way less than 100 crores. The other thing was, at that time, SEC was extremely prestigious. People used to give multi-million jobs up for a chance to work as director or deputy director of the SEC. SEBI hasn't reached there. In terms of HR policies, maybe a lot of other policies in terms of pay, or maybe prestige, which is changing now. I guess people find SEBI far more prestigious than it was 5 years back. In fact, just last week, as part of the recruitment process at SEBI, so we were selecting candidates for the law stream, the legal stream. And it's interesting that almost 80 to 90% of them wanted to join SEBI for the prestige of it, which is a great sign. And I think we're kind of getting there where the SEC was, and SEC itself has kind of fallen from grace over the last 10 years. In terms of positive impact, definitely SEBI is kind of getting there.
You win some and you lose some, but dealing with that is a part of every lawyer's life, says this 34-year-old. Having survived the pressures of the industry for almost a decade, Parekh believes that the satisfaction after winning a deal is something no other profession can offer. But what when you lose an important case?
If you become sentimental, if you get too involved with your clients, you're probably not doing a great job in the first place. So there has to be some form of detachment, some form which is kind of really part of the professionalism.
Pressures of being a lawyer and so on and so forth. I believe you've been involved with clients who've maybe closed deals worth over $1 billion or possibly $1 billion. What's it really like for you at that moment when a deal gets done and you've been part of the sort of winning team? What does it feel like?
It's definitely a sense of achievement, especially more than the deal getting done. I mean, when you look at the newspaper, and of course, when your name is not there and you say, okay, I was part of this deal, or you see a hoarding which says that so-and-so have merged together or so-and-so has happened. It's a very good feeling.
Well, you write pretty regularly on all sorts of things, from participatory notes to short selling and so on and so forth. Do you enjoy the whole process of writing, of seeing your name in print in various magazines and newspapers and things like that?
Really, I guess that's part of my other hat which I wear, which is the non-lawyer hat, which is as a teacher. I teach each year.
The age difference, there probably isn't that much in terms of the people that you're teaching. So is that ever a problem, or are they sort of...
Not really. I mean, except some of my students call me by my first name, because I of course don't mind that.
Are you seeing a lot more interest in this area of specialization now?
There are lots. I mean, my first class 4 years back was 15 students, and now I have 80 students. So, of course, a lot of people want to get into the financial world, and they know it's highly hyper-regulated. So they know this is a useful cause.
Sandeep, we wish you the very best of luck, and we do hope that all of your dreams of being a policy maker and maybe being part of the regulator do come true. Thanks very much for speaking to us on Young Turks today.
Thanks, Shireen.
That's a wrap on this segment of Young Turks. We'll be back with another young achiever. Stay with us. You're watching CNBC TV 18.